when reality changes,
Mm-hmm.
our circumstances change, and then we're confronted with that, right? And then so, this is a metaphor for life, right? like like you're facing changes in a relationship with yourself and your
Mm-hmm.
identity and your kind of like your abilities right now, the loss of autonomy that comes with having to like admit like, oh, I can't quite do the thing I want to do, and having to ask for help. We don't want to be seen as a burden, or we don't want to put other people out, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot of layers there.
You helped me through that. And you didn't dictate where I should go. I don't know if you noticed that.
Welcome back to In Residence. I'm Keith.
And I'm Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Hey, Keith.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing swell. What are we getting into?
Okay, so we haven't recorded in person with each other for a while.
Correct.
And so we were having a production meeting this morning, also known as coffee.
Yeah.
In our recliners.
Yeah. Sounds so much fancier when you're like writing your notes and like production meeting.
Production meeting, yes. So we were talking about different things that we've been experiencing over the last several weeks, because you and I haven't recorded for 2 weeks.
Something like that.
And the last one we did a live session.
Yep. Remote.
Yep. And some of that is because we have been busy with life just happening, right? We've had tennis. We've had a trip to the Indy 500. We've had tennis.
Yep.
Lots of tennis stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Not complaining, though.
No.
Right.
Just busy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But you and I, as we were talking through this morning, just checking in with each other and what we've been thinking about, you mentioned, I somehow realized I haven't journaled since May 14th. And I was like, oh, I haven't journaled since, I think it was May 14th. I did once on May 20th, and then it wasn't until Friday.
Yeah, I think the 27th was about 3 sentences, and then the 29th. And so I skipped another, well, I didn't skip. Life was happening and we were busy and things were going on. And that's kind of what I said to you is I'm like, I feel fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing went off the rails.
Yeah.
And I was simply doing the things I needed to do. And it just happened that it was usually in the morning, and that's usually when I sit down to write. And so I was just not doing it. And so it was fine. But then there's also a part of me that's like, feeling guilty that I'm not doing the thing. Like we talk like, and this isn't going to be like us just talking about journaling again, because I think there's something else at play here.
Yep.
But as part of my practice, right? Or my ritual, like we talk about, right? Like what's our routine? There's a part of me that feels like I kind of failed, or I'm, not meeting the mark in some way, like a little bit. But then like, as we were talking, you're like, or is it simply okay? And I'm like, I think it is. It's just I'm having some feelings about it. Like it was just kind of weird.
And I was also thinking about, I had missed a week and then I missed 10 days almost.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, I'm kind of precious.
Yeah.
About that routine. And I know we've talked about it a lot, like on here. But I'm really precious about that routine. And I started feeling kind of like I had failed or let myself down.
Yeah.
Even though, like you said, nothing has gone off the rails.
Yeah. Well, I think so what kind of came up, and I think what's going to be interesting to talk about beyond, journaling this or not journaling, is that is simply just a part of my regimen, right? Or like you said, like I don't know if you said sacred ritual or something, but like
a sacred
but
ritual.
that was an interesting way for us to think about this stuff, where it was more of like a romantic way to think about it, which is like as like an artistic person and kind of looking to dive into like more creative pursuits that felt empowering. There's something that came up while we were talking about like how I was having kind of those feelings of like maybe like letting myself down and not living up to what I thought I ought to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that feeling in itself I'm like, is that getting in the way of me simply being and doing the things that are what I need to be doing? You know, because I was getting more things done without me not plan. Like I had to plan the things, but I didn't have as much time to scrutinize and like kind of dilly dally on the page. You
Right.
know, it was more of like writing things down to get them down so I did them versus like the aspirations, right? Like sometimes when we're on the page, it's like aspirational intentions and um you know, what's the grand scheme? You know, like we talk about this quite a bit. And I'm like, this is it just feels like this like last like 2 week span where I kind of got away from trying to track that and trying to manifest things that I was going to do. I just did them. It feels like I kind of got out of my own way or didn't allow, it's almost like I didn't allow the perfection to become resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, I don't, you know, and it wasn't like an active, like, I don't have time to journal it or to write things down or to process on the page. It was, this has to happen today. Therefore, I have to do this, this, and this and get to the store. Okay, here we go. You know, and so I'm not trying to build that up as if it's a big deal or something either, but I'm just trying to look at, like, I'm not trying to throw out like like the reflection and stuff. I'm like, and like, oh, I got away without doing it, so I don't need to do it again. It's more of like, oh, I don't need to feel bad if I miss it.
Right.
You know, I still come back to it and it's still good to like reset, refocus. And I'm kind of in a little phase where I'm trying to like go back to it and kind of reset and see what I'm looking forward to. But anyway.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah, I'm rambling.
I know. I was like, I don't know where to jump in.
Pause. Just jump.
Okay. I've been, I ended up calling it a journaling holiday. Like a little holiday from journaling.
Yeah.
Did you notice it when you were doing it? Because I didn't notice. When I went and I thought I need to journal on Friday, or I want to journal. I feel like I have a lot I want to process. I looked, I go, oh gosh, it's been 10 days.
I think I maybe noticed maybe once or twice over like a, you know, like it was like almost 14-day span for me. I think I kind of noticed, but also was like, that's not that big a deal. And then I'm like, I don't even know what to write about, you know, because I was simply, I think, like as we were talking, it's more of like, well, I was being present and I was doing the things and living life versus writing about the life I want to live, kind of thing is what came up. And then, and as I was trying to explore this a little bit more today, like in order to talk about it, I was like, you know, that's something I can kind of hold on to, is like, I was in this state of being and doing versus thinking about being the kind of person that does these kinds of things, right? You know, whether it was, you know, making stuff for like a potluck or showing up to support the kids for tennis or talking about music things and stuff with child too, you know, like whatever it was, like I was simply in the moment and like having good conversations and doing things and getting things ready and prepared. And
how did that feel to be in the present, like the present moment?
It was good. Like that's why I think I when I said like, oh, you know, nothing went wrong without me taking my morning routine, you know, and being specifically writing, nothing fell apart. If anything, things went almost better. But like, I know I'm kind of like trying to make it okay because part of me still feels bad that I wasn't doing the practice that I say I want to do. But like, this is all, it's just me going back and forth and being like, it's okay. Like I've missed days before. It's not like I broke some streak that's like 3 years long or something, you know? So I'm just noticing that it feels pretty good. And also like I feel a little pressure of, it's almost like that shadow part of me is like, you didn't do good enough. And it's like, but I did great at all these other things. Get out of here. You know? So, I don't know. Like I feel pretty good.
Yeah. I wonder if sometimes we over process.
Yeah. Oh, I overthink like crazy. That's, and so, or I avoid, I have so many things swimming around that I'll find something to distract me so I don't have to think, kind of, whether it's watching shows or blah, 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 right? Like everything that we do is helpful and possibly like a little distracting and not quite helpful. I don't want to say harmful, but like, it's like I tend to either need to go like dive deep into focused work, or I kind of notice myself doing anything to distract myself from doing focused work, right?
Yeah.
Like, and there is a happy medium somewhere, but I don't tend to stay in that spot. It's the but that's I feel like that's like an older script, possibly, in a not quite realistic way of analyzing my behavior. I think that's some pressures of me wanting to show up right, then not helping, but kind of telling me how I ought to show up versus just being in the moment and doing the things I have to get done, like, because sometimes simply having the to-do list is enough. I don't need to write, for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, what are the big 3 things I need to do today, and then having a little bit of freedom aside from doing those things is kind of, maybe that's like where I was living in the last couple weeks.
Sure.
It was like, well, I know these things have to get done. Therefore, instead of being like, oh, they might, like, because it might, like going grocery shopping, right, to get certain things that I need to cook a certain meal might not be top on my priority list if it were just left up to me to be me, not having to do anything in the world. But instead of getting cranky about it, it's like, well, I'm going to do this. And it's actually like a pleasure to do it because it's helping us celebrate the tennis team and stuff, right? It was for the banquet, right?
Right.
So I was just a little stressed out because I wanted to make sure something was good, right? So I noticed that.
Sure.
And then knowing that, okay, well, then working backwards and knowing like how long it's going to take to cook something so that it's ready on time, right?
Okay.
Then I realized like, oh, at a certain point, it's going to be in the oven and I can do whatever I want as long as I'm paying attention to the oven a little bit, So I don't know. I'm rambling a bunch because I haven't processed on the page very much lately.
Like you got a lot you're thinking about.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I feel similar things and I also feel different things. Where I do feel that by missing the journaling, I was a little surprised at how many days. And I thought, okay, well, it's not something I'm telling myself I have to go back and do because it's what you do. It's what you do, right? Like,
yeah,
I want to be someone that has tools that I can process. And I think I've been using you as my processing and sounding board when I haven't been journaling. So you and I have been spending more time together over the last several weeks too.
Yeah.
So I do wonder, is some of my need to process on the page being replaced somewhat with processing with you?
Yeah. Well, and I think I told you this, but maybe I didn't. Like, I'm realizing that talking is more helpful for me than writing. For the type of stuff that I journal about, it's nice to be able to talk to you about it. Not that I want to give up writing and stuff.
Yeah.
But having a conversation seems to be a lot more helpful. And you're really good at giving me the space to ramble. And I need that. Like, I need space to say it out loud versus replaying things in my head, Yeah. It's just a little different. It's different enough to make a difference for me between writing and talking about it. And sometimes that one is easier though than the other. So that granted, sometimes I might have to go and like write for a while before I can say something out loud. Anyway.
This morning there was something that was coming up for me, even yesterday too, something that was coming up for me that I didn't actually end up journaling because we talked through it and you really helped me process what was going on.
Yeah.
So it started yesterday. So I love gardening. It is one of my favorite things to do, to be outside with my hands in the dirt, hearing the birds, right? And having the sun on my face with sunscreen, of course, and just planting flowers and pulling weeds and growing vegetables. I love everything about it. And this year, because of my hip, because of arthritis, I am very limited in what I'm used to doing. I am really used to coming and knocking out the weeding over like marathon sessions.
Right.
Probably not the best, right? But marathon sessions and getting a garden in by the beginning of June. And I was starting to feel guilty. Maybe I was starting to feel guilty because I'm depending on other people
Mm-hmm.
to help me with that. So your mom has been helping, child 2 has been helping me. You've been helping run and get me dirt and different things and bring them to places where I can use the dirt.
Yeah.
But it has been a different experience. And I know yesterday I was starting to feel a little like, oh, I'm not going to be able to get to a garden. I was going to weed and get to my garden and put some things in. And I stepped back and I thought, well, this year is not like last year or the year before. This year is very different. You have a lot of amazing people helping you a ton. What would it look like if you picked the things that are the highest priority for you and focus on that? So instead of having a full garden of tomatoes and cucumbers and green beans and all the things, carrots and all that, what if you just say, this year, I'm going to do container gardening. I went to a garden center yesterday with my mom, and I got 3 tomato plants, 2 jalapeno plants, some herbs, and that was about it. And I thought, okay, this is doable. It is prioritizing making sure I always have cherry tomatoes on hand during the summer. It's prioritizing making sure I get some jalapeno peppers so we can have jalapeno poppers that you do on the grill wrapped in bacon stuffed with cream cheese. It's so good. I prioritized and really whittled it down from having 50 plants without homes, having to go somewhere in a garden or a flower bed somewhere, to really having 7.
Yeah.
Right? 7 vegetables. And you helped me through that. And you didn't dictate where I should go. I don't know if you noticed that.
What do you mean dictate where you should go?
Like,
I wasn't trying to tell you the solution. Is that what you mean?
So I would say even 5 years ago, you would have tried to fix it differently and tried to use logic to say, if you think about it logically.
I don't literally say that,
No.
but like we can tell that that's where I go. When you're being emotional, I didn't realize this, but I try to bring logic.
Yep.
And I think you do the same for me. If I'm being emotional, you try to bring logic because that's what balances it out, right?
Right.
And then it's a tricky dance sometimes.
It is. But I will say, I think at one point I said to you, I think I am grieving a little bit of what has been and what I'm used to doing, even though I have amazing help and the people in my life that will help me are willing to do the things that I would want. If I said, oh, I want this garden weeded now so I can put a whole bunch of plants in it, like you and child 2 and your mom would be like, oh gosh, okay, let's go there first. That's really important. You would do it. But that's not necessarily what this is all about, right? It's not about having the same size garden and being able to can all the things. It's more about making sure that I have those things that are nostalgic, that I love, that make me think of summer, even when I can't move very well with my hip.
Right.
You know?
Well, and it's kind of like gardening for you isn't, the end game isn't having a garden. It's all about the process and all of the things that you gain from the process of weeding and landscaping and watering and, you know, all the things that go along with it, like that's not the whole point. Isn't having the produce or whatever at the end of it. It's like actually you having that specified time where you're out in nature, right?
And being, I mean, and this is going to sound maybe silly, but quiet time with myself.
Yeah.
Without having to, I don't know.
It gets rid of the distractions, right? Like I said, like I tend to fill my, even if I were the one having to garden, you know, I put on an audiobook or music.
Yeah.
And I know you might put music on sometimes.
Yeah.
But like I'm listening to books to enrich my brain and this, and you'll put something on that's like a casual thing that you might not even be listening to.
Yeah.
You know, like you I
really like to hear the birds and hear the wind and the trees rustling.
Yeah. So like often I see you don't even have like earbuds or the aftershocks or whatever they're called.
Yeah, I love aftershocks.
Because then you can hear stuff all around you.
Or aeroshocks.
Aeroshocks or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, like you said, there's definitely something to when reality changes, our circumstances change, and then we're confronted with that, right? And then and that's what's happening with you and your hip. It's coming out like this, you know, this is a metaphor for life, right? like you're facing like these changes in a relationship with yourself and your identity and your kind of like your abilities right now, and having to ask for help for you is tricky.
That is tricky.
Right? I mean, a lot of us have trouble asking for help. We don't want to be seen as a burden, or we don't want to put other people out, you know, whatever it is.
Right.
Or the loss of autonomy that comes with having to like admit like, oh, I can't quite do the thing I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of layers there.
I mean, even yesterday, I was at a point where I thought, well, you know, sometimes I can weed just by sitting down and weeding. I'm going to weed the garden today, is what I thought. And your mom said, well, don't kill yourself. I can weed that now, you know, next if you want. And I thought, no, I think it's flat enough. I can do it. And then when I looked at it, I just thought, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
That's a bad decision for you right now.
Well,
know?
So that's a good example. And I think it came up when we were talking in the morning of you were feeling this sense of loss of not being able to do what you have done for decades.
Right. Next year, I will be back to it. But it was grieving.
You were trying to find a way to hold on to as much of that as you could.
Yeah.
And without me trying to interrupt with a bunch of logic of telling you, okay, well, that's not a smart thing to do, right? Like you're going to overdo it. You're going to set yourself back or whatever. I was trying to acknowledge, like, I think I asked you, like, okay, so I knew you're having feelings about it, but then I was more of like, I'm like, well, what is important to you? Like, what are the things that you really want? Say, like, even if we did half of the garden, right? Like what are those things? And that's, I think, where you got to that prioritizing and thinking of like, okay, what am I willing to try to hold on to like a little bit of that thing without having to be basically on your hands and knees,
right? Sitting
on the ground.
Well, and
seeing if you can make it through.
And weeding it once is not enough. I mean, I know people will be out there weeding all the time, and I'm not one of those people, but I do, you know how you kind of do deep cleaning before company comes over, or we do?
Yeah.
It's pretty similar with my garden, is that I do a deep weeding before everything goes in, and then it looks beautiful. And then around, 4th of July, all the weeds that I didn't get the roots of, the first time are coming up. And so I do another really deep weeding. So I do lots of that. Other than little maintenance, I do more of that bigger piece. But it was helpful for you. I know I said, oh, gosh, even if I could do sunflowers, because I love doing big sunflowers in the garden, and they have to be in the garden because it's fenced in and we have hungry deer and squirrels and rabbits and all the critters that like to eat all the things that I want to grow. But you said, you know what? We can clear a spot right now. And I can put them in the ground for you. You just tell me where. I'm like, oh, so
I can hand till enough room for a few sunflowers if you want.
Yep. And so it's good. This is good practice for me to try and let go and really think about what's important. And when I'm thinking about it, the pieces of a garden that I love is being able to get my hands dirty and be in the quiet and listen to birds, be in the sun. I like I said, I love cherry tomatoes all summer. I love raspberries, right? At the end of June, early July. I like fresh herbs. I almost said herbs. Fresh herbs.
Yeah.
But jalapenos are another thing that I really like to grow too. So we're gonna try it this way. And I'm hopeful. I even put some carrots in a pot. I don't know if that'll work. I got a free pack of carrot seeds.
Okay.
And so I put carrots in a deep pot. We're gonna see. Child 2 and I were thinking, I bet in that pot it would be okay. So we'll see.
Yeah. So you went from kind of grieving and being in the feels.
Yeah.
To, processing and we talked through it kind of, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure did.
And then you moved into action and you went and you got some stuff with your mom, right?
Yep, I did.
So how does it feel after that? And then you kind of went to work on it today, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel now as opposed to when you were kind of worried and kind of grieving and feeling like the loss?
Yeah. It feels good. I had some hesitation around, do I put in what pot? What's going to work well? I need a tomato cage in that. Is that going to stand well in that pot? Because every year I always do I think I normally do at least one tomato on our deck because it's just convenient to go and grab the tomatoes off it. I always do at least one jalapeno plant up on our deck. But the pots I had up there, I thought, I don't know if I'm doing this right. Child 2 actually brought up pots that have never been up on our deck before. They're really, really big. Yeah. I put a regular tomato plant. Somebody at work got me a purple Cherokee heirloom tomato.
Oh,
I've never done that before.
Okay.
So I put that in the big pot, thinking that would be a good idea to give it a little bit more room and space. But it feels good to have things in the ground.
In the soil?
In the soil. Yeah. There we go. In the soil. And we'll see what we get. We'll see what we get. But if I can get some cherry tomatoes, even a pint every week, that would be great. So it is feeling better. And I really appreciate that you were willing to talk through all that with me. And I know it seems silly, but it was harder than I thought it was going to be to let that garden go. Like the idea of a garden, even when I said, well, this year I'd like to clear it out and put a few things in there, but not as much as I normally do. So I was thinking, 3 or 4 jalapeno plants, maybe 4 tomato plants.
You've been bargaining.
I've been bargaining all spring. I'll just spend more at garden centers and buy the plants already made. I won't do the seeds. But I'm happy where I am. I'm happy where I am right now. And next year, brand new hip, watch out. That garden, it is going to be something. Thinking about the garden example or thing I've been going through. Don't know why I don't have a better way to say it other than thing I'm going through with the garden. It's complicated.
Crisis.
Yeah, that's probably closer. But thinking about that, I really have had to become more clear about what is important to me. And what I'm willing to give up in order to preserve different things that are important to me related to gardening and my garden. Going back to what you were talking a little bit about the journaling holiday, the inadvertent journaling holiday, and how you were working towards, instead of, well, I don't know, working towards, but you ended up more living and leaning into life than speculating and writing about aspirational things to do with life.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about that idea that when you're stepping out and you're doing the things, that really does help you become more clear about what's important and what you're doing. And it's not that you should forfeit ways to process, whether it's conversations with you or journaling, but it does really help you become more clear about how you want to spend your time and what you want to do. Thinking about child one going to tennis games. I know, I can't remember if it was last week. I think it was the week before. Doesn't matter. Sorry. So I was thinking a couple weeks ago, I know when I was talking to my parents, they're like, oh my gosh, you're on the road all the time. We're worried about you. Are you going to be okay? Because I was driving from here to work, then, which is about 3.5 hours away, then work to a tennis tournament. But it was being present for moments, right? Being present for the tennis tournament for child one, being present for specific work pieces that I really wanted to be there for, being present and going on a family vacation around a long tradition. I mean, my 34th race, it was the kids' 5th. I need to figure out what race it was for you. I can't remember. I figured it out.
I thought it was like 17 or so.
I think it was 17.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but those pieces, like, I think part of that not doing the introspection and processing via journaling somewhat made way for me to live life in the ways that I prioritize and are important to me.
Yeah. So I think I noticed this same thing. I was doing the things that I wanted to do, which brings up the, like the identity part. Like, it's tricky to say, like you are your actions, right? Is something you hear.
Yeah.
And I think that extends, it gets a little blurry because I think it extends to you are also your thoughts and the things that you like dream about and dream up, but brings up like painters paint, writers write, musicians play their instruments or practice their vocals, right?
Yeah.
What I noticed is I was taking actions, not simply writing about how I want to play more and write more. It was just a season where, the end of a season, like the tennis season, like for this spring, like my identity was tennis booster, right? Like, I think you called me that.
I keep calling you tennis dad.
Yeah.
They called you their mascot.
Yeah.
I love that. They're like, where's our mascot?
Yeah. And that's just simply how I wanted to show up in the world. And it brought me joy. And I'm glad it seemed like it brought other people a little happiness too. Like that wasn't my aim. I mean, my aim is always to like enrich the people around me and like their experience as well as mine. But like, I wasn't actively trying to show up as things that feel like a little hyperbolic. I like being in the atmosphere. I've already talked about it several times. But those actions, or like being a tennis booster, that can be part of my identity, but it doesn't have to take up all of it, right? Like, it's, we're multifaceted and all these things. And so like that can be an activity I do, and then I can come home and I can, still have time and energy to check in with you or child too, and how's the guitar playing going? And and guess what? I want to watch playoff hockey because that's fun for me too,
Mm-hmm.
And not that everything has to be fun. Like it's called work for a reason, right? like I think that's an old like that 70s show joke. It's like it's not called happy fun time. It's called work. Like but there was just something I noticed that instead of me kind of fumbling around in that aspirational thing, I'm just getting after it. And anyway, I think I'm just reiterating stuff, but um it felt good to be a little more active, and I guess that kind of coincided also with being around other people more.
Mm-hmm.
So being a little more social. So I think the community aspect comes in, and so
Right.
not just kind of realizing that it's not just about me. That yes, there was like some difference in how I was showing up for myself, but also how I was showing up for other people too. It was fun,
Yeah.
and being. I think that's why I like when the sports seasons are happening, or like for us, like a lot of the times it was like concerts, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
whether we're in choir concerts or like piano or guitar and stuff,
Yeah. We did a
there's
lot.
community around that,
Yeah, absolutely.
And whether people are coming to see you and congratulate you for playing, or you're hanging out with like your fellow musicians that are going on before you or with you. So yeah, I don't know. There just seems like there's several layers to getting out of my own way and simply picking some things to do, and those actions creating, and like you said, allowing like you're kind of your inner compass kind of guides you to what you want to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really need to always kind of overcompensating by having to map it out on the page, and saying like Tuesday I'm going to go do this, then I'm going to do, like sometimes like if you not that I want anyone to look through any of my journaling, but like I will sometimes, if I'm journaling, there'll be a list of like every half hour of the day, and I feel like if I map out what I could be doing every half hour, it might help me do something. And it's just like,
interesting.
it makes you, now thinking about it, it's like almost want to like, it just meant I was stuck. That was like an attempt of me like doodling my way out of it. It's like, I don't know what to write. I don't know what to do. I was probably feeling stuck in something that I should go back and look and read what I was writing around that time. But it's like, just at that point, it's like, just get up and go for a walk. Just do something like change. Like that comes back to like changing your environment or something if you're feeling like you're not quite doing what you want to be doing. In any way you can.
I mean, it's similar, and it's not necessarily journaling, but one thing I've been trying to do is have more intentional evenings instead of going. I think we talked about this on here, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay. So instead of going and watching Emily in Paris all night, right, and eating supper on the couch,
your eating spot.
My eating spot.
Yeah, you've brought it up.
I have brought that up. What I've been doing, and I'm still doing it, is for the most part, every once in a while, you move back a little bit.
It's not about perfection.
It's not about perfection.
It's about consistency and progress, right?
Yeah. So I have been challenging myself to say, okay, so what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to puzzle, or I'm going to read, or I'm going to move my body. So exercise, bike, weights. And I have more often than not in the evenings been doing something that is moving towards a goal that I have without it feeling like I'm forcing myself to do it. It's more, let's do something in the evenings that's for you. I mean, really, that's what it is how do you find ways to rest that don't feel lazy? Because I don't rest well. Maybe that's what I get to bed really well. I sleep easily. And perimenopause has thrown a hole in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But early evening, I'm a good fall asleeper.
Yeah.
Is that how you would say?
I think that's exactly how you say it.
Okay, I'm a good fall asleeper. But I other than that, I don't sit still well. So I'm finding ways to feel productive without that productivity having to be
just being busy and moving.
Well, not even that, but busy work. Like busy just doing more work or busy doing something that like paying bills, or there was somebody once.
We need to pay bills.
I know, well, we'll do that. But
I know what you're saying.
so one example I heard on a podcast once is somebody said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this behavior I'm trying to change. And instead of doing that, I'll distract myself by cleaning bathrooms. And the person was like, why would you sell yourself? Okay, I'm going to change this thing that I enjoy doing. I'm going to replace it with cleaning toilets. Like, that doesn't quite make sense. And so I've been trying to tell myself, okay, so instead of sitting and watching Young Sheldon all evening, how's about you go and puzzle? That's enjoyable. Don't switch out Young Sheldon for going through a stack of papers and sorting and recycling and figuring out which ones need to be shredded, like managing my bills.
That's like something I would habit stack with watching a show.
Yeah.
I'd be like, my reward for doing the tedious work is getting to listen to or watch something.
Yeah.
And the tricky thing is picking something that you want to listen to, but not so closely that it stops you from doing the task.
You know what was interesting? Someone habit stacked going through old paperwork at one of the tennis tournaments.
Yeah.
I was in awe and also worried for her because it was so windy. And she had like 3 large, it was like
the bins,
bins and gift bags of recycling, shred, keep. And she was going through all of it just on like a little grassy knoll in her lawn chair. And
so I don't mean to throw any shade at that person, but what that brings up for me is that person wasn't being present in an appropriate way, that they they were there, but were they paying attention to who they were there for? And
I don't know.
That's something probably from like little Keith's little heart that's coming through, is like,
that's like, pay attention to me.
So just,
you're going to be here, be here.
So I understand that, but also but that's what comes up for me when I hear that. Because I remember that I'm like, what is this gal doing? And I'm like, I get it. Like, it's hard to get all of the things done.
Well, and sometimes during tennis tournaments, if the person that you came to watch isn't playing
exactly,
then of course, right?
So that's what I wanted to say next.
She had a full blown operation.
I just wanted to say, like, my initial reaction was a little judgment, and then I went to like, you know what? They're probably not playing right now, the person that they're here to see. Like, I get that, and I don't have time to like monitor them and police them.
No,
like,
but I remember noticing it out of the side of my eye. I'm like, what's going on over here? And I texted you. I'm like, dude. Because I was like,
because I was up doing my own thing, pacing, watching matches, right?
Yes.
And then I did see it.
Gotta check this out.
So again,
I'm impressed.
I'm not trying to judge them. I'm pointing out a me thing that's my life. Like, things come up and I find myself processing them a certain way, and then I got to be like, okay, hold on. Okay, wait, what does gardening mean to you? Let's talk about this.
Yes. So you wouldn't try and have me do bills?
Gardening.
Well, gardening. That's good. I like that. I appreciate that.
Or don't make me do bills while I'm trying to
watching tennis
or playoff hockey.
Or playoff hockey.
You kind of thing. Like, I'm like, I do not want to multitask during certain things. Like, but other things I will. Anyway.
And each of us knows that for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so communicate it.
You got it. You got it. As we're looking at the future and where we're headed, I know you and I are still both going to be journalers.
Yeah.
Right? It's a tool in our toolbox.
We're bringing up journaling again.
No, well,
I'm kidding.
What I wanted to ask you, though, is now that we've both inadvertently, in an unplanned way, I guess that's what inadvertent is, went on like a little journaling holiday. How are you going to approach mindfully incorporating it back in a way that feels good to you? Or are you?
Oh, yeah. So it's the end of the school year, the end of the tennis season.
Mm-hmm.
And so and we done with our little family trip, so it feels like the right moment for me to kind of reset. And a good way for me to do that is to go to the page and just kind of do like an overview and a reflection. Sorry.
I do like a thought download. That's
yeah.
like you do it more structured than I do.
I add structure, so I think about how's work looking, how's my relationships, how's my health, what am I doing for fun, right? And I just check in with that, and I'll just take each section, and then eventually I'll be thinking about health, and then I'll think about finance, or then I'll think about work, and then I'll be like, I'll circle back, and I'll be like, okay, like, is there anything else here? So like that's my way of intentionally resetting and focusing, and that's what I tend to use my journal time in the mornings for. But I'm also open to seeing like, well, maybe I'm a nighttime journaler. I did that for a while. Like it would just seem to be the quietest time, but I am finding I'm going to bed a little earlier. Gonna throw that little nugget in because it's been like on my to-do list for decades is like try not to stay up so late. It's happening slowly. If it happens where like there's a Wednesday where people want to get together at 9 a.m. to go do something fun, I might not have time to journal, and that's fine with me.
Yeah.
And it's I think that the interesting thing about that is like I want to have this freedom to be flexible and like fly by the seat of my pants, but I'm also someone that really likes structure.
Yeah,
I'm just not always great at creating it for myself or allowing other people to interrupt my structure.
Not saying anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Not gonna say a word.
Anyway, that's all I got. I don't know. Yeah, you can ask more questions if you need a better answer. But...
No, I think that's good.
All right, you?
I will be bringing journaling back into the fray, or the fold, because I do find that it's useful for me, but I'm also going to not stress out that I missed, a couple weeks in the last 3 weeks of journaling because I feel centered still. And I journal a lot about health, wellness, what I'm thinking about there, my hip, things like that. Like just kind of working through the feels of where I'm at. And so I find that to be really helpful. I know on Friday, I really downloaded a lot that I've been holding, not even knowing I was holding it. And so I do find that to be helpful for me.
So we're winding down. So not to start anything, but what that made me realize is like we've talked about like different ways of journaling before. And I tend to do not more, but I tend to put more weight on talking about like the aspirational side of my journaling and how I use it to help kind of pump me up to go and do things. And you were just talking about the witnessing side of it, where you're documenting how you're feeling, what's going on, and
processing through that.
Processing through it. I do that too. It's just that once it's like served its purpose, I get back into like the aspirational, which is like a little weird way of me like going to thinking about things that I'm like hesitant about. Like,
sure.
Which is why I was talking about like getting into action so much again today. But that kind of that processing on the page and that witnessing that you're doing, they're both helpful. And thinking about the hiatus we took from journaling, I think that's maybe the only thing I feel a little bad about. I'm like, oh, it would have been nice if I had just made a few, like you said, a few sentences about the day.
Yeah.
Like just to document, and to be able to go back to.
Yeah.
I think that just popped up for me as I'm like, I think maybe that's part of like, there's a little something in me that's a little sad that I didn't journal for a couple weeks. And I think it was because I was having a good time.
Yeah.
It's like, don't just write down when you're struggling or like wishing you were doing something different. Like it's okay to write down the good things too.
Yeah. I have a book, and I haven't been as diligent about filling it out, one line a day journaling. And so it's meant to do just that, where it's not overwhelming, fill a whole page or fill 5 pages or anything like that. But it's really, what is the date? What is the year? I went to the Indy 500 today. It can be really nice. So I'm looking forward to getting back to that and just trying to be a little bit more intentional of not every day, but on days that something happens that I want to capture that. It's a 5-year journal. So it's kind of cool.
Ooh.
So it goes all the way through and then you go to the front and then it's the second year below. So you can see year to year what
cool.
you've been doing. So it's pretty neat.
Ooh.
But 1 line a day. You probably would like that.
Maybe. It might feel daunting.
Might be too much pressure for you. We don't want it to feel like pressure.
I might fill it out weekly or something.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Anything else?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Should we get out of here?
I think we should.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
I love you too. I like fresh herbs. I almost said herbs. Fresh herbs.